Hey everyone, this is Pig for Life, and today's Toy Dojo sponsor review is going to be Takara Tomy's Masterpiece Transformers MP-20 Wheeljack. As always, let's go ahead and get started with packaging review. And as you can see, we're already familiar with this packaging. The only real difference, obviously, is that we have Wheeljack on the front with the product alt mode here and the product robot mode there. And you can see this is an official Lancia sponsored or licensed product, because Wheeljack's alt mode is a Lancia Stratos Turbo. On the side here we get a nice profile image of alt mode. On the top, really nothing, just the Wheeljack information and Masterpiece. On this side we do get Wheeljack in his robot mode. On the bottom we do see some product images. We see him with his missile launcher, his shoulder cannon, I guess. And then we see him with MP-10 and MP-10 in his trailer as well. And we're actually going to show that off in a little bit. And then at the bottom you see what's included. There's Wheeljack, his pistol, 2 sets of rear view mirrors that you have to install. We do have his shoulder cannon, as well as the missile that goes into it, the stacked bio card, and instructions. But that's really it. On the bottom we do again get, instead of the Lamborghini or Nissan logos that we've seen before, we get the Lancia emblem. I'm trying to focus in on that, but not having a lot of luck. There we go. Okay. And as always, let's go ahead and get him unboxed. Alright. Getting him unboxed, we get a few things with him. We do get the clamshell, but we also get the instructions. And a couple of things I did want to show off while we get in unpackaging is the collector coin. So if you order the exclusive collector coin with it, you do get this. You can open up by splitting in the sides, and you can see a Wheeljack on the front. And then on the back, as always, they have the logo. So in this case, the Autobot logo. So if you collect these, great, I do. But if not, it's not a total loss. And the second thing that I got was the Amazon exclusive. So if you got the Amazon exclusive item, it is his kind of anti-hypnosis device, which a lot of people have been calling kind of his lunch pail. But this is actually quite nice. The molding is really nice. There's a lot of detail, and the metallic finish, the metallic blue finish, is really, really nice, really shiny. And we'll show that off a little bit later. Let's go ahead and open up the instructions. And again, you do get these 2 sets of rear view mirrors, which I haven't installed yet, and I'm going to install on camera just for you guys. Here's the bio card. Nice image of Wheeljack. And on the back we get his stats. Let's try to focus in. Come on. There we go. Okay. And the instructions, which we're not really going to need because we're going to be walking through this. But he is, to be honest, quite a complicated transformation compared to some of the other, especially some of the other cars. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. And these are the 2 sets of rear view mirrors. What you basically have to do, I'm going to bring in my sprue cutters, is, let's see, can we focus here? There we go. No, not really. Not being very successful. Well, anyway, you take each of them and just cut them at the tip here and here. And you can actually just wiggle them off if you want. And then you get the 2 rear view pieces, which again, I'm probably not going to have much success getting focused on. And we'll show that off in a second. So what do you get with Wheeljack? Again, we saw it in the instructions, but you get Wheeljack, his missile launcher, his missile, and his handgun. So the first thing I'm going to show is how to get these installed, these rear view mirrors installed. And they go in the front here, these two slots. And they really just peg straight in. So you just go ahead and plug that in. There's one side. Grab the other side. Plug it straight in. This side was a little bit tighter actually. But then there you go. No big deal, right? And to show off his accessories, they do have actually nice storage for the handgun. They actually use a trick that a lot of companies have used before. Let's raise this up a bit. And you make use of this peg and this slot on the bottom and plug it in this way. It can really only plug in this way. It's actually off-centered, so it's very difficult to plug it in this way. I'm sure you can kind of plug it in this way, but there's a lot of stuff gets in the way. So really, you should plug it in to the side. Yep, it looks like that. And with the gun, the missile cannon, while it's not an actual firing missile, it does come in two separate parts, so you can separate the missile. It does have slots on the side, and you just slide that right in, and that's as far as it goes. For storage in alt mode, it's a little bit different than the other figures in that there's a spring-loaded mechanism right in the middle here, and mine actually doesn't spring back up very well. But in any case, you just press that straight in there. And there we go. It does articulate a bit, so you can go up and down. And overall, it looks quite good in storage. Again, I've never been a big stickler for having storage in alt mode for weapons, but this one's not too bad. Try and get that out. See, and again, mine doesn't come out, but I can make it come out a little bit later. Getting these out of the way real quick. I did want to do some comparisons. So let's bring in Prowl very quickly. So in terms of length, they're about the same, honestly. Prowl might be a little bit longer in the bumper. And then in terms of width, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but Wheeljack is a bit wider. But still in the same kind of scale. They scale very, very well together, as all the masterpieces do. And then lastly, just to show the obligatory shot of him going in the MP-10 trailer, just go ahead and open that up, wheel that down, and you can roll straight in. Well, his bumper hits, but you can fake it that it goes straight in. It does close up, no problem. Okay, and then you can wheel him back out, just in case you didn't believe the product images. So as far as alt mode goes, he looks pretty clean. I will say that the paint apps are really nice, but mine aren't super clean. You might be able to see here if I can zoom in. So you have some paint issues here. I have some overspray in some areas. The lines aren't as crisp in some areas as I would like, but overall it's still quite good. See, this side is much better than the other side, but still up here there is some overspray. One area that is more apparent, again if I can focus, is on this rear tail light. You can see there's overspray of the red. But it's much better than, say, Sideswipe, who was notorious in Tiger Track. So overall, I think this is a really good alt mode. I love that they use the gun for the exhaust, even though it's a trick we've seen before. And it's nice that they, again, have storage for this. And it's easier, even though, again, mine doesn't spring that well. I've seen others, and theirs spring up just fine. So I'm just going to say it's a slight defect on mine. Okay, so I'm going to get into transformation for this guy. I'm not going to do it exactly how the instructions do it because I think honestly the way the instructions do it is actually pretty poor, or at least not as easy. So the first thing you need to do is actually just grab this front piece. So this front bumper piece and this center piece are one piece. And you basically just need to extend it out. You wiggle it and you get these joints out. These joints in here kind of accordion together. And really the only way to get it all out is just to kind of wiggle it gently. Okay, let me move this up real quick. And then from here, what they say is you basically want to pull the entire front down with the legs. But I feel like that's actually not a good way because it's just hard to get the legs to kind of pull out. So I kind of pull these tabs out from the bottom here and then separate that. And then I try to get in here and lift the hood up because the hood does tab in. So you pull that up and then you can actually split the legs and then deal with them separately. So you can extend, so you can see how the leg extended there. And the same thing here. I think that's much easier. And then you can see what's going on from the bottom. So from the bottom, this whole hip piece is on a hinge here. And so you kind of rotate that entire piece down. And while you're doing that, you kind of want to straighten out these legs here and accordion down. Be careful here. There's a lot of movement here. So just support this when you're rotating it down. And then there's a slot above the crotch where the hood kind of tabs in. It doesn't actually tab in all the way. Like mine just kind of sits partially in place. So I don't know if that's the case with everyone's, but that's the case with mine. Okay, so now that we have both the legs kind of out, you want to deal with the feet. And the feet are really kind of confusing. Again, it's because of these kind of weird accordion like joints. You basically want to get this teardrop looking piece so that it's I guess perpendicular to the leg. If you see what I'm saying, that this flat edge here should be perpendicular. Okay, and what that allows you to do, this allows you to flip this instep piece all the way around, and this tab piece goes right into the tab slot at the bottom. And that's why you need that kind of teardrop piece, again, perpendicular to the leg. So again, doing kind of the same thing here. Getting it perpendicular to the leg, and then rotating the instep around to tab in. With that done, you want to rotate these weirdly shaped pieces up. And then you're gonna, oh sorry, that part already untabbed. Well, this part was tabbed in. What you want to do is pull it out and then down at the same time. I think it's easier to pull it also towards the camera here at the same time. See, so it kind of all comes at an angle and down. And then that's on a double hinge that comes all the way around. And we use this peg to go into kind of the back of the calf. That should peg in very nicely. It's a little tight, but there you go. So again, on this side, pull towards the camera and down at the same time. And then rotate around all the way. Put that peg hole straight in. And with that, you're done with the lower legs. Let's zoom out a bit and then move on to the top. So the top is also a little complicated. So you're going to want to bend this so it's 90 degrees. And then the chest opens up. So it's not like a folding down chest. It actually has two panels that open up. And then you can rotate the head up. And there's Wheeljack. Then you close it back up. Okay, so from here, again, it gets a little complicated. This entire roof area comes up. And it's on a mechanism. And you can see that's where the spring joint is. It actually came up. But anyway, you want to pull that up. And looking at it from the back, you're going to want to split. Oh, I'm sorry. Before you do that, you want to come around to the bottom, and this little exhaust piece is tabbed into his wings, and you just want to pull that down. And just be careful because these clear wing pieces are pretty fragile. So once you've done that, you split the back in half, and when you get it to about here, you want to reach in and pull these wing pieces up. And again, I go in and support it at the hinge because they are pretty fragile, and just rotate them up so that they're angled. It's kind of hard here. There you go. So you can see it's kind of at a 45-degree angle. So that allows you to rotate these pieces all the way down. At this point, you want to rotate the wings all the way to the front, and they have a stopping point, again, about 45 degrees, and then you can press them down flat again. Alright, from here you can rotate the arms out, arms and fists out. And again, this place is kind of confusing and also doesn't, the transformation is a little odd in the sense that it doesn't seem like you're done with it. So when you have this little tab that was tabbing the wings together before, push that all the way as far as you can, and then you're going to rotate this entire backpack down. But when you look at the top, there's two hinges. So there's one hinge here in the back and one closer to the neck. You want to rotate at the rear hinge and keep that front one straight. Otherwise, things don't work. There we go. See? And you want to rotate that down, and everything kind of fits into place here. What's odd is when you look at the side, there's no like tabbing of anything in on this piece alone, which is why it's kind of weird. And it doesn't look like, if you rotate his arm down, it doesn't look like his shoulder is in line with his chest. So I don't know why that is. Maybe mine's just not rotating enough. No matter what I do, I can't get it to sit like this where it's flush. It always droops down just a little bit. Might just be mine, but from what I can see in the product images, it's the same there. So we're almost done. This little tab goes into his slot in his lower back. Okay, and then there's a tab in here that tabs into his backpack. So we're done with that. Dealing with the arms, so they were like this. What you want to do is rotate them down, but you want to rotate the elbows so that they're the right way. That's 180 degrees. Then dealing with the hands, it says in the instructions to basically move this panel first, rotate this panel, and then rotate the hands. You don't really need to do them separately. I mean, you can do them together if you hold them in the joint. But rotate that, rotate the fist around 180 degrees, and then this spoiler rotates 90 degrees to be in line with this forearm. So again, on this side, just rotate both pieces, rotate the hand, fist 180 degrees, and then rotate the spoiler. And then we have Wheeljack in robot mode, which was fairly simple. Just kidding, I'm just kidding, I'm being sarcastic. That part didn't come up. It was actually a little complicated, more complicated than I would have liked. Again, he looks quite good. The things that bother me are like this, that again, there's a little gap here. For me, his chest piece doesn't tab into his waist. But overall, he looks like a really good representation of Wheeljack. As far as his head sculpt goes, it's spot on. Some people have shown that if you actually take off his head, if you unscrew it and you can take off his face mask. He actually has a face underneath there with a mustache, which is supposed to be an allusion to some of his other cartoons. I think like an animated, he had a mustache. But he looks just like Wheeljack, like really nice. I kind of wish, that, I know they don't do this with Masterpiece, but if they had a light up feature so he could light up the side pieces on his head, that would have been really cool. But yeah, it looks pretty clean. I don't like the fist covers. It kind of reminds me of Age of Extinction Hound, Voyager Hound. He also has kind of fist covers, which I don't really enjoy. But these aren't as bad as Hound's. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't show that. Right here. Let me zoom back out. So those fist covers bother me just a little bit. But overall, I think he's a really great representation. He doesn't have a lot going on. It's pretty clean. I wish some of this was hidden, but you know, that's not nearly as bad. And also, even though he has he has extending legs, I actually liked him on this figure. They're not bad and they're pretty smooth. So this is a positive leg extension for me. As far as articulation goes, he's on a hinge here and on a post or a swivel, so he can go all the way around. He does have swiveling shoulders. Can go out like that, really nice and tight. Bicep swivel, elbow at 90 degrees. His fists, like most masterpieces, they are only pinned at the joint here, and the fingers aren't individually articulated, they're just one set. He has universal hips and a upper thigh swivel. He has a waist swivel that goes all the way around, and it's not for transformation purposes, so they just, you know, kind of threw that in. He does have a 90-degree bend at the knee, and his foot does have a good amount of articulation, especially going inwards. He does have some toe action and heel action. He gets a nice range of motion there. To get the heel action, you're gonna have to unpeg. So just be careful of that when you peg it back in. It does look kind of weird that his feet extend inwards and his leg stops here and his feet still go in more. But again, that's a minor quibble. Okay. So that's it for his articulation. He can hold the anti-hypnosis device. You just have to kind of position that in there, and he holds it like a little lunchbox. Gonna eat some Energon for lunch. And as always, with Masterpiece guns, they have those tabs on the side. And unlike Prowl and all the Nissan molds, this guy can actually hold his gun straight. So you just peg that in to the slot in his palm, and he can hold it straight. Ready to go to lunch. And Wheeljack would not look like Wheeljack without his shoulder cannon. So using that same peg, he has slots in both his shoulders that they can go into. And again, it can articulate up a bit, which is how I like it. And he has a great range of motion. He can get pretty wide. He can get kind of that goofy, split-legged Wheeljack picture that we see a lot. Bringing in some comparisons. Let's bring in one of his greatest creations of all time. Oh man, sorry, my new setup with my new backdrop makes it kind of hard to fit everything in frame. But there he is with Grimlock. And just to give you an idea of what he looks like with some of the other cars, I'll bring in Red Alert. Oops, sorry about that. Stand him straight so you guys can get a good idea of exactly how tall he is. So he's just about the same height, maybe a millimeter or two, just because of his weird head antenna thing. And of course, what Masterpiece comparison would be complete without MP-10, Masterpiece Prime, their fearless leader. So again, really nice scale with all of the Masterpiece line in both alt mode and in robot mode. Alright, so to get Wheeljack back into alt mode, it's much of the same going backwards, but there are a couple of places where you need to be very specific on how you transform him and what order, and just some areas you need to be careful of. So the first thing I do is deal with the arms. You're going to rotate the arms all the way back. You're going to rotate the fist 180 degrees, so it's in line with this other white piece. Rotate those two pieces down, and then rotate the spoiler back around. Sometimes there's some clearance issues, so just be careful so that you don't hit corners here and mess up your arms. So again, rotate 180 degrees at the bicep, rotate the fist 180 degrees, rotate these straight down, like so, and then rotate the spoiler. And again, be careful of this corner. Alright, rotate the arms like so, and then we can go ahead and deal with the backpack. So you're going to unpeg the backpack and that hinge that went into the lower back, and you're going to rotate all this up. Okay? And at this point you can rotate the arms all the way back to form the back of the car. And they don't peg in or anything, we'll show that later. So once you have that done, you can open the chest, rotate Wheeljack's head in, close it up, and then also deal with these wings. So again, rotate them just a little bit so they're like, 30 to 45 degrees up like so. Let me get that up so you can see that a little bit better, like that. And then you can rotate, once you have this flipped up, you can rotate those all the way back above the wheels. From here, you're going to want to rotate these 90 degrees so that they're like so. And then reach in, again, supporting the hinge and straighten them out. Mine are really tight for some reason, especially coming back down this way, so just be very, very careful. Alright, when you have those rotated flat, you can lift up this black panel and tab those in. And so this part gets a little tricky, if it wasn't tricky already. You need to lift this piece all the way up, okay, so that you can rotate the arms in. And this little connector pin here, you need to get that underneath these black forearm pieces, which have an indent designed specifically to kind of go into place there. But once you do it once or twice, you get the hang of it. So once that's done, it's a little gappy. You just need to close it up and plug. There's two tabs on each side here that plug into these side pieces. Okay, then we can rotate this all the way up and plug these two tabs into the hood here. Okay, so now we're done with the rear. Dealing with the legs and the front of the car. Again, it gets a little complicated. So the first thing I'm going to deal with is these leg panels, the back leg hovers. Unpeg the legs here. Okay, so when you rotate them up, you have to up and around. And they're on double hinges in here, these black pieces. So just make sure to straighten it out as much as possible, this back hinge first, then you can deal with that. And when you come around, you're gonna come up and just push up on it here. And that should all tab into place if you did it. There we go, if you tab it correctly. So again, open the leg up while rotating it at these hinges. And if you rotate it all the way on those hinges, you just go press up, and that will tab into place, and that will wrap around the top. Okay, so from here, I'm going to deal with the feet. Go ahead and rotate these insteps all the way in. They don't tab in or anything like that, they just rotate in. And this is where it gets kind of weird. So we talked about this in the beginning, how these pieces here kind of accordion into the toe. So this teardrop piece needs to actually go up like so. So the easiest way is to position like this, bring this piece down, and then push straight in. And that will get, and you can see the teardrop piece goes in on top. And that allows everything to close up nice and neatly. So again, on this side, rotate this down, and then rotate the teardrop piece up. And then once you have that, you just press it straight in. All right. Rotate these pieces down You're going to want to rotate at this hinge. Again, support this white piece because it is a little thinner than I would like. And while you're rotating up, just rotate the legs as well so they go forward. And there you go there. So from here, I again collapse the legs separately. So just collapse them back and then tab this piece underneath here. This tab goes underneath here, so collapse, goes underneath there, plug the two halves together, and then last but not least, there's tabs in the roof, front of the roof, that tab straight down. And that holds everything together. If you want to bring the exhaust piece back in, you can. Oops. I was doing that tab came out. And there we go. We're back in alt mode or car mode. And as you can see, not terribly difficult, but there are just things you need to be careful of. So as far as final thoughts go on this guy, I really like him. I mean, the actual alt mode itself, I never loved the Lancia Stratos, but he's a good representation. I love the paint apps because they are very reminiscent of the cartoon and the G1 toy, which all masterpieces have done a really good job on. The extending legs are actually some of my favorite. I think I like them even more than my MP-10. I think they do a really good job. They're smooth, but they're defined, that you know when they're in place and not. I do like the use of the gun as the exhaust, even though we've seen that before, but I don't know if I've seen it before in a official release. I know a lot of third parties do that. And although the transformation is a little bit complicated, it allows for a lot of freedom of articulation. The toe pieces are the only pieces that are a little complex. But again, once you do it a couple times, you should be very good with it. But yeah, overall, I love this guy. If you like this guy and want to pick him up for your own collection, go ahead and click on the link below in the video description, and that'll take you over to Toy Dojo where you can get one for yourself. And just a little heads up, some people always ask me how I get these extras, like the Amazon extra. Do I order from Amazon or not? No, I get these extras and coin from Toy Dojo, because if you actually pre-order early with them, they give you this stuff for free included in the price of the pre-order. But again, it's for kind of like first come first serve that you get those, and later if you wait, they'll give you an option to add the coin for extra money if you want to do that. But really the best idea, if you'd like all the extras, is just to pre-order as soon as possible, and then you get those for free. But I think that's it, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you have any questions, as always, leave it in the comment section below and I'll try to get to that. And if you like what I'm doing, as always, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I think that's all for today, everyone. Have a good one.